So my name is Jen Hesnan, and I am at the moment the Creative Youth Coordinator with Galway and Roscommon, which is on the west of Ireland. And I work for the Galway Roscommon Education Training Board. But in my spare time and in any chance I get, I'm also a researcher and a huge enthusiast around the Erasmus Plus programs and the European programs and the ESC. And I'm extremely interested in the field of creative technology and have been working in the field of creative technology for many years. I'm really interested in the space where creativity meets education. And I'm also extremely interested in the space where that is youth led and it's based on the needs and the interests of young people in education and in all learning settings. So that's formal education, but also non formal and youth work. So for digital transformation, for me, it really needs to include the voice of the young person, and it needs to bring into account the need for creativity and for sustainable education as well within that field. So I'm in a nutshell, essentially really interested in these idea that we can develop creative learning environments for young people to really play with new technologies and old technologies, but also for educators to be included in that process. Traditionally, we would have known them as maker spaces or maker culture, but also it could be a space whereby there are technologies in a room and there are codes of conduct around these technologies like VR headsets, laptops, music studios, videography studios, and that teachers really promote a space where young people are welcomed to try and to fail and to inquire as to what these technologies can do, what the limitations are, and what the opportunities are as well to be able to engage with them. You achieve the possibility to open up new pathways to new learning and also to develop young people's sense of creation with technology as opposed to consumption. So it's really, really, really important for our future generation to be building up core soft skills like 21st century learning, creativity, collaboration, communication, critical thinking. But as well as that, it's extremely important that we build up a baseline literacy around basic STEM skills as well as creative skills and build up educators' confidence to be able to pass power over to young people within education settings. Because really, I feel when an educator is coming into contact with a new technology, they're still an adult in that room. They're still an adult guider or learner, or they themselves need to be not afraid to engage with the young people and create a situation where I'm the adult, I'm going to tell you what's safe, what's not safe, but also I'm not sure I have all the answers in this situation. So I feel sometimes within these creative learning spaces, like maker spaces, or even when a teacher is maybe trying to introduce a new technology into a classroom, that one of the most powerful things they can do is say, I'm not sure, let's find out together to the young people, because that in a way is passing agency over to young people to support them to be able to navigate technologies into the future. And the big issue that is facing our young people is that it's not going away. You know, they go home and technology is there with them 24/7. As much as we would like to protect young people and cut off access to this, it's always going to be in their lives. So it really is our responsibility as adults, as educators, as youth workers to be able to support them to navigate this field with the critical faculties in check. And for us as adults to really support that sort of human centered learning approach as well. Some amazing NGOs, expert organizations that are developing creative education resources and extremely creative applications of technologies, amazing kits and equipment that you can buy to bring into your classroom to foster that sustainable development sense of learning with technology as well in mind and with the concept of bettering society. So they exist in most countries, and especially across European countries, but also further abroad. There are people that are really passionate in these areas, and the concept of creating these learning environments that are going to develop young people's sense of robustness, I guess, in the face of new initiatives and new technologies coming in. We need to understand the challenges that are facing these expert organizations. So, for example, in Ireland, we have quite a few expert organizations within the field of creative applications of technology education. But what I see and what I hear from these workers that are working so hard on the ground and these educators is that they're having to really fight for the justification of this and spend a huge amount of time and resource that could be otherwise spent actually supporting young people to engage in these positive interactions and social interactions on actually getting funding and being supported on maybe an annual basis or on a 2-year basis. So you have these wonderful projects, but the strategic long-term thinking within our education systems at national level and at European level need to be addressed. But we have organizations like Kinia, which really support educators to celebrate their work and train and develop educators to the point where they feel empowered to be able to implement this and go further and celebrate it and justify it to their senior management. And that then trickles up to their senior management, who then have to justify it to the funders, as well as that organizations like Freuge, who are looking at philanthropic support and pulling in philanthropic support actually from abroad to be able to support their expert team of youth workers to develop staff and volunteers. And as well as that, we also have a lot of tech companies in Ireland. So we have organizations like Microsoft investing a lot of resource and time. However, all of these examples are not strategically state funded by our government. So although we're shouting about it from the rooftops and really from bottom up and top down, kind of pulling at both ends of the supports that are needed, we still have a way to go. So I think if European structures are looking at how can we implement this within our countries, I think it's really important to look inward and go, wow, there's a lot of people in our country, for example, at the moment that are really flying this flag, but they're doing it on a very small budget and they're doing it with maybe 1 staff or 2 staff, and they're really trying their best to justify from a policy perspective, from an outcome and an evaluation perspective, to be able to justify that back up to the funders. So eventually someone just trusts the process, because we all know that there's a gap and we all have a digital transformation priority. We also have a responsibility towards our young people as adults and as educators to really support this to go forward. We have to transform our education system and our out of school sector to be able to support our educators to implement these spaces. But I think that there's a little bit of work to be done at strategic level for that to happen. So we've seen loads of really wonderful examples of strategic national agency corporations around the concepts of digital youth work. For many years, technology has been creeping in to the Erasmus Plus programs and the ESD programs because naturally young people are interested in technology. This is a topic that's coming up for youth workers and for the programs. So in order for national agencies to be able to support their youth organizations to apply within this field of digital or technology-based programs, I think it's extremely important for us to articulate to these youth organizations what's expected. Because if the national agency is saying, apply to do a digital program, and we would love to see a very polished music video at the end of it, or an extremely upfront and functional makerspace, I'm not sure that that's going to really lead us to the development goals that we want to see. So I guess what I would say is that if the national agencies are willing to trust the process of creating a space for organizations to really just play with these new technologies, to go to other countries and to support them to really learn from other organizations that are maybe playing and discovering new things and exchanging new things, this will really help us to move forward to the next stage, where then you start to see your big technological outcome focused programs. So I guess it's creating a space for youth work organizations to be able to try something and potentially fail, but also to be able to play with new concepts and new technologies that are coming out for them.